Clicky clacky keyboard. My bad, y'all. Give me just a sec. Guys, share this out. Share that with your friends, your family, baby mom, baby dad, and everybody else. Please start their video. Thank you. All right, everybody, welcome to the stream tonight. We are going to have a special town hall with Server 36. That's Server Tachyon, for those who are unfamiliar with it. Now, this does not mean that if you are in the YouTube comments that you are unwanted, unwarranted, and needless to say, unimportant. You're, in fact, very important to all of us. However, we will be starting off the stream answering Server 36's questions, going through things that they have. You might hear them come up onto the stage and talk a little bit about the things that they would like to know about the game. Hopefully we can all learn something tonight. Hopefully we have a good time. I will go ahead and warn you, it is thunderstorming really badly right now where I'm at. So if I just like cut off, I promise you the rapture didn't happen. It's just the storm. It's just going crazy. So I will be trying to pay as much attention to the YouTube chat as I can. Just please keep in mind that we're focusing on Server 36 to start the stream and their questions, but very possible that you'll have similar questions. So we'll try to get through all those. And then also we will definitely be hanging out with y'all. Sean, thank you. The glasses, these are blue light glasses. They help with when you're staring at screens all day. They get rid of that blue light. And I don't actually wear, these aren't a prescription or anything. These are just literally like, hey, you're in front of a computer too much. Hold on. My microfiber cloth. Where is it? I gotta clean them. What's that? Aha! I found it. All right. But yeah, we're gonna be getting into some good questions. So make sure that you have your own. Get your own questions in. And I'm looking forward to tonight. The times that we get to really learn about the game, I think, are some of the best things that are, at least the best times that I have. So please, if you wouldn't mind, invite your server, invite your Discord, Facebook, because I have it shared over there, Reddit, Twitters, all those different places. And shout out to your servers. Server 22, 67, 36, 8, 41, 35, 11, 20, 36 members here. Good to see 59 and everybody else. Welcome in. I'm going to go ahead and hop over into the voice channel with their group 60, 57, 49. Hey, Scotty. Also 36, 45. Y'all come on in and we're going to start this up and bring your questions as well, because if they're not bringing them, then we'll jump in right here. Okay.
I accidentally clicked on it.
There we go.
And my laptop, and it disconnected me.
Well, now I'm connected, so how are y'all doing? Y'all doing good, Server 36? Yes? Yeah? Wow, don't sound so confident. Don't sound so confident about it.
Stoggy always disconnects me. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm just flustered.
Flustered? What? Don't be flustered.
What? No, my dog. Okay, so I opened up the drapes because we have a balcony, whatnot, and we have a little Chiweenie dog that just loves barking at everything she can find. And apparently she scared herself while barking and peed on the bed.
Oof, those small dogs. That's how it goes. So we're going to start this off. And by the way, if y'all are here in the Server 36 Discord, then for those watching on YouTube, we are on the Tachyon Server 36 Discord. We're going to start with some of their questions first. There was a couple written out, which makes it really easy. We can try to get through those, and I already know that y'all aren't going to like some of the answers. It's because y'all are asking things that I don't have questions to, because I see a Photon. One, shout out, it's not even listed correctly. It's called a Photon particle here, which I guess is amazing. Because we're 8.5 months in, and it's getting called different things. So maybe we'll be able to fool the devs into calling it something else. But my thoughts on alliance stacking, I don't know if Bubble Wubble is still in chat or if they're in voice, but I would be curious to know what exactly they mean by alliance stacking. I assume by alliance stacking, we're talking about, say, 50s jumping from one alliance to another to guarantee that territory gets taken by this alliance or that alliance. I assume that's what they mean, but I want to verify, I'm not just giving off a random answer about nonsensical stuff. Is Bubble here? Does anybody know? There's Bubble.
I'm in.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, guys? Yeah, exactly that. Level 50s bouncing from one alliance to another to take over territories and wipe people off the map. That's about it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, I find that very distasteful. I am not a fan of it. It's definitely not a strategy that I employ. And, it makes it very difficult for any alliance to get traction and find success when they're being, combated with people that normally their alliance would typically be 1 versus 1 type, similar level, similar power, and then obviously this insurmountable wave comes through. Now, there are some things that you can do to try to combat against that if you don't have server lag that's too ridiculously bad. And one of those things is, even though the Rialta burn is gone, and that is sadly gone, and that's not coming back. So if it does get asked tonight, whether in the YouTube chat or Server 36 chat, no, Rialta burn's not returning. But you can still tie up their ship to make it useless. I mean, you can spam it with things like Rialtas, Fortunates, Turuses, Fendras. And I know a lot of people on different servers who what they'll do is with their discovery, they'll warp in crappy cheap ships with speed crews to just simply go and spam those tribunes and those pilums that will enter into territory. And if you persist with that spam, then they can't take out your actual warship. So if you do have that player that's got that level 8 Enterprise with a maxed Marcus who can kill the Jellies and the Valdors, you can prevent the whales from taking them down. I don't agree with the thought of alliance stacking and the premise behind it. I think that, you should be in your alliance and you shouldn't be hopping around to benefit somebody else. But, you just have to do what you can until the game does something to counteract that. But as we are well aware of, and it's no secret, whales get preferred treatment. So odds are, if something benefits them, they're probably not going to be really quick to go and remove that from the game. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If it's something that the whales like to do, it's very slow to see it change. So, second part of your question, I guess, because I know that's not what you wanted your first part, Bubble. Unless you just wanted me to say, hey, that sucks. And then I'm with you. Yes, it sucks. But second part,
I think that was kind of it. And if there was any plans to fix that, like adding a longer cooldown or, whatever there. I know it's been discussed a little bit, but
yeah, it's been asked for and discussed, but I don't know of anything specifically coming out. There's always things being worked on and discussed. I mean, I was, whether it's, and I will say this, credit to Scopely. We're going to trash talk some things, and that's fine. It's okay to trash talk them. But I will say from a communicative standpoint, they have gotten better. Not only do you have the content creators and moderators like myself who will get access and talk to, live ops and dev teams, the people who put together the events, but even more recently, Ripper with his project that he's got going on right now with the Star Trek Fleet Command.space, but also what he's doing with the PC version of the game, modding that and then pushing that to try to get that into an official release. But then also I've talked to an actual engineer earlier this week about different things in the game, how they work, why they work the way that they do, roadblocks that they have. So communication's getting better, and typically when communication gets better, things that we get in game get better, even if it's not always the case. But that's what we're working on right now. Anyway, next part. Photon tokens. What are they? How will they be used? Or just some more info. So, Bubble, I'm just going to assume that you've been hearing people ask about Photon tokens for months and you have no bloody idea what that is. Is that what that is? Or did you mean to actually talk about a particle and not Photon tokens?
No, it's Photon tokens. I've heard it on couple different podcasts and stuff, and then a couple of my guys were asking about it that are turning level 40s. So
yeah, okay. So I'll go over a brief recap of what it is. If you're in the YouTube chat, if I have any of the moderators, if y'all can share the link, and if Jesse or Soji or anybody want to grab the link from my channel, it's back in January. That way y'all can watch the full video on it. But essentially, Photon tokens are a design replacement for your 30-day loyalty system. And by design replacement, I mean currently right now, if you go into your loyalty system, you will spend, loyalty tokens on either a 7-day or, as most of you will be doing, saving for a 30-day box. Most people just skip the 7 days and go for the 30-day loyalty chest. So the idea and the premise behind the token is to allow you to take the 7-day chest, still get the 7-day chest every time it comes around, but then inside that 7-day chest you get a Photon token. Collect 4 of these, you're then able to turn in the 30-day chest. So it's an improvement, it's a QOL improvement to the loyalty system that allows you to now get both chests, in essence kind of doubling the amount of free resources you get from the loyalty system every month. It's not exactly double, but it lets you get both sets of chests instead of just one. It is currently live on 3 servers that I'm aware of at the moment, and it is coming to the game, as in it's not just theory crafted, it's not just something that's getting tested and 3 servers have it. It is actually coming fairly soon. I don't have an exact date for you, but I did just have this conversation with a dev literally a few days ago, and if it's not here by the end of the year, I'll be very, very shocked. So I know that's still a long time frame, but I am really expecting it to be semi-soon. And I told the people and Goobicus of Borg says, how do I get left out of Server 36 chat? Goob, I don't know if you're in Server 36. If you are, we're in the Server 36 Tachyon Discord. And I will say to y'all have 2 Discords. Why do y'all have 2 Server 36 Discords? But anyway, Goob, I don't know how that works, man. I don't know if y'all have got like some weird rivalry thing and y'all hate each other. I stay out of the drama. But I'm in
lots of things.
Okay, well, whatever the reason is, that's where I'm at, and you just ask them to invite you, and hopefully they're kind. But anyway, I'm hoping for Photon tokens by my birthday. That's the hint I've been giving out to those who follow my channel, and if you don't remember when that is, well, I'm just going to go make you do some investigative work to find out what that is. Big Smiley says, didn't realize Photon tokens weren't a thing. Big Smiley, what server are you on? 51, 61, or 63? Let me know, Smiley. But yeah, that is a new feature that just got tested this year, so it is actually not out and about. Third one from Bubble was current Armada strategy with Troy and how she affects Gala strategy, and when's it better to hit a high level that could result in less loot without 5. So it's kind of several layers of questions. So the Troy thing, to be honest, how the game is right now, I prefer Gala because they operate and they affect the criticals in different ways. And what I mean by that is I'll show you, and I'll put this in the Server 36 chat, and I guess I'll put that up in YouTube as well. But Gala reduces damage, whereas Troy reduces chance. So they work 2 different ways. And it's not that I dislike one over the other, but with Gala, if you ever noticed, you can have it to where the Armada still crits, but does literally 0 damage if you have enough Galas to 0 it out. Now, the benefit of Troy is especially going to be in the higher level, and I really feel, and it was even talked about on DJ's podcast, that Troy is kind of an officer for future stuff. Her ability to take down the critical chance of certain armadas, I think, is going to play effect in maybe some of the newer stuff, maybe possibly that platinum armada we've seen teased a little bit, where you've got that empty token spot in your inventory right now that says platinum armada. She's still a good officer, and one Troy by herself coming in, or with full synergy, but by herself will effectively negate every critical chance except for on a Armada just by herself. And that takes it down to a 5%. And with full synergy, she takes down every Armada to 0% except for Borg, which that goes down to 5%. So she's a useful card. She's useful immediately out of the gate. I don't know how in love with her I am. And having tested her and run her so far, I mean, she definitely works. But, it is kind of nice to rig the system sometimes with that Gala, where you're just like, yeah, we'll let the crit happen, but it's not going to do any damage. What else we have? That good? I got that part because I don't want to miss any other questions before we move on to the next one. And shout out, by the way, I still see some of y'all in the YouTube chat. Don't worry. Now they're trying to guess my birthday. And Andy, October 9th is not my birthday, but I will say you're close. My birthday is not the 9th. Not the 9th. Okay, we good? Good? All the mods are quiet. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything before I start scrolling down.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. I want to give it. We got kids apparently talking about cussing. That's not really important. Hurricanes. That's not important either. All right, the chat's got a lot of random chat in it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the questions.
Here's one about effectively grinding during a server war, and this is from Sevi. Now, Sevi, I guess it depends on what type of grinding you're referring to. I'm assuming hostile grinding, but I guess it depends on what type. For me, during war, I always try to find the lesser known systems. Now, this can be very problematic if you're trying to do like the tried and true method of grinding in Taigo Core. Like, I want all the speed ups, I want all the officer XP, etc. Well, there's really no way around that. But the truth is, we forget that when it comes to actually, like, if you just need to go farm like 39s, there are well over a dozen systems almost in every faction, depending on if you got access to D space or not. But just in Fed space, between 39 and 40s, you've got, what's that one? Wolf, you've got Groombridge, you've got Alpha Centauri, you've got Arcturus, you've got Memory Alpha, you've got Tenebia, you've got Altair, you've got Vega. There's a lot of systems out there that most people don't frequent, and generally you don't frequent them because they're like 2 minutes longer flight timeouts. You just go to kind of the normal ones. So one thing that I try to do with both my mining and my grinding is to avoid the very well-known systems. Don't go to Altania, don't go to Wolf, don't go to Taigo Core. Try to find the ones off the beaten path. And if you're in deep space, it's actually a little bit easier to do. And Sevi, if I remember right, you are 40 plus, but I could be wrong. But Sevi, I think that you are. It's about going off the beaten path. And, if that means that you got to go farm in Almongo instead of, Hollis or something, just try to get a little bit different. And also, don't use territory at all. If you are at war, don't use territory and then be surprised when you get smacked, especially if you're talking about mining. That's just asking to get a very unhappy welcome. Very unhappy welcome. So hopefully that kind of covers those. But the truth is, when you're at war, expect to be hit. That's just kind of par for the course. So you have to be a little bit more stealthy with it. And also remember that the glowing circles in the game, the orange and the red, that's denoting activity. So if you see any system like that you would normally go grind in, like I've got a level 32 swarm system, Frista's basically lit up 24/7. Avoid those. Don't go there. Likely you're going to find a bad guy. Or go there to hunt the bad guys. Either way, be wary. Be wary.
I've always wondered about that because, that's the thing that we were always told in the beginning. It was like, oh yeah, it just means high activity. And then I go and check the system, and there's like 2 people in there.
So the thing is, okay, it's not hard to turn on the light. Like, you can literally turn on the light with like a few PvP hits, but it's very, it's kind of all over the place, to be real. Like, if you see one like an independent space, like you see Asabin lit up, somebody's probably getting raided, and there's a little bit of a raid defense. But if it's just me raiding a base, the light will never ticker on. But if like some little activity starts happening with that little base defense, somebody threw a miner out there and it got popped because we thought it was trying to steal the raid. Oh no, the light turned on. It's one of Scopely's less specific, less useful features. We're just being real. But that is the purpose of it. So be mindful and don't go to those type of places at war if you're, not wanting to get smacked or do some smacking.
Yeah, speaking of raiding, I remember when I first started playing and watching your videos and stuff like that, you were really big into raiding. So has that changed at all since you've gotten higher level and played for so many years?
Yes and no.
I see raid. I see raid guy. That's his favorite.
Yeah, shout out John, by the way, who is big supporter, but also he likes to raid shame me. So my opinion on raiding has honestly never changed. It's, for me personally, as a content creator, time can be very difficult to go out and raid. Just to give you a little bit of background on being a content creator, and you can talk to DJ about this and stuff, and all of them will tell you that it's very time consuming. With me doing content creation as a full-time job, it's my gameplay at any given day is generally between 1 and 3 hours max. Then I've got video editing to do. I also have a channel that I do football stuff. So those that don't know, random fact about Rev, NFL trained scout. I actually cover the NFL professionally for a few years. That's a thing that I still do with radio and podcast. So I got all these things going on. Raiding takes a lot of time. That doesn't mean it's not valuable, but just for me, I haven't gotten around to doing as much as I'd like. I am at around 4 billion raid points. Now remember, rating, like if you go into your profile and you look at like your rankings, the resources rated is not a 1-to-1. So like if you've got 3.9 billion resources rated, that doesn't mean you've rated 3.9 billion resources. It's points. So it is what's the dilithium is worth, I think 1, tritanium is like 0.75, and par steel is like 0.4 or 0.5. So you actually will have rated a lot more than you think you have, but it works on a point system similar to how the away teams, if you ever notice the away teams point system where it says, hey, strength is the best, but all points matter. That's because in the away teams, there's a primary weighted point. So if it wants attack, that means attack is worth 1, and then defense and health would be worth 0.5. So a lot of things in the game will have a weighted system instead of just being straight up a 1-to-1 ratio. So to me, rating is still super important. I'm sorry to get off on a tangent for a question y'all didn't even ask, but
no, that's good.
I think it's incredibly important, especially as a free-to-play player, because even though things like the Franklin A have come out and all this stuff, yesterday I started upgrading my hangar to level 39, and it cost me 1.2 billion par steel. The only way for me to reasonably upgrading into the 40s and late 30s without being delayed is for me to go out and raid for those in combination with the events that I do. And, like I can do Mining Monday and my biotics and get a solid, 300 million par steel, which is good, but that still would take 4 days of that to do that one building upgrade. So it's very important to get in the habit of raiding, especially early on in the 20s, to where I even remember using a Botany Bay with a maxed out cargo before the Horizon would roll around. So
now, have you ever seen this on like your server or any other server where alliances will actually have someone who's in the 40s buy a pack and let one of their team members actually raid it off them?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of variations of that. And this just goes back to the need for a market system. And I was actually talking to, one of the people from Scopely earlier today about, hey, it'd be great, market system. But that's, we'll just have to wait and see. All we can do about that is to hound. But yeah, that is not as uncommon as you might think. And there's also, believe it or not, like I know a lot of whales will get, lots of grief, but I have personally found across the game more helpful level 50s in terms of, server culture and understanding what you have to do to keep the game alive for their community than not. I mean, for example, we have a guy named Wing Saber on server 20 that for months, he would just take his faction miners out to deep space, fully load them up with ore, and then just go park them in an independent system for somebody to destroy and have, 2.5 million ore just for the heck of it. So, that is a kind of a form of that where, they don't really need the resources, but they're being generous to try to help out their alliance mates or help out somebody on the server. And it's good to see stuff like that. It's good to see stuff like similar to how, when I did the Scopely sponsored Armada tour where I just run around to random alliances launching Armadas for people, mostly to help lower level players and free to play players get access to some things a little bit earlier. But anyway, all those things to the side. Next question from Excalibur 81 says, is there a story behind the Rev Deuce moniker and thoughts on consumables and what's one you'd like to see added? So the Rev Deuce moniker is pretty simple. Deuce is my name. I was named after my father. We don't do junior. We do Deuce and Rev because I was a reverend, went through seminary, did all that fun stuff, and have not served on staff at a church in 3.5 years now. But it's just kind of stuck. It's always been there. Never took it off. And unless the Assemblies of God come at me and say, hey, you're not with us get rid of it, which that sounds really stupid after I've said it to myself. Yeah, I guess it's just kind of stuck. It's just part of who I am. But yeah, anyway. As far as consumables, they're very meh. I'm not a very excited fan about consumables, and there are reasons why consumables are kind of lackluster. As far as what I would want as a consumable, I can't think of anything that would be realistic. You know, I can't think of a consumable that could realistically be put into the game that would do something. Now, there are some good ones. Probably the best consumable there is, in my opinion, would be the XP boost for ship grinding. That's probably the best consumable there is right now. I mean, in my opinion. I'm also really big on scrapping, though, so that's probably my top. Okay, what else? Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll and find more questions. Ooh, Sevy, we're back with another one. By the way, I see YouTube. If y'all got something, I will try to grab it. I do have y'all pulled up here. Deuce says, Franklin A. Dailies pay out $300 million at level 41. This is true, but you're also missing a lot as well if you go up there, if you are not ready, especially some of your efficiency researches. Definitely get those up before you jump up. Ditz, to get questions to me, you just ask them in chat. Now, keep in mind that the YouTube, I think, currently has got, how many is on YouTube right now? Let me look. YouTube is like 200 people, 210 people. Then I've also got Server 36 here in Discord. We're focusing on Server 36 questions first because we're doing the town hall for them. But we will get to more YouTube questions. Is there an impulse speed consumable? No, there is not. No, there is not. What I can do is on the YouTube side, and I can share it to, if I still have it. Yeah, I still have it. I'm going to share this to the voice chat room in Server 36, and then I will also put it on the screen. But there's a list of all the consumables that we currently have. So you have a Galaxy set, a Station set, and a Combat set. The only thing speed-wise that you can update is your warp speed, which is a maximum of a 200% increase. So 200% increase. There is no impulse speed boost. So stick to your Pan Navis, your Burnhams, your Claws, Synergy, all that stuff. All right. There was a question about defending Armada and changes to the Armada mechanics that might make it easier for little guys to defend theirs. As far as changes, I don't know of anything off the top of my head. I will say, please, everybody stop asking me to tell the devs to remove the 15-minute timer for a start now button. That's never happening. Please, for the love of God, stop asking me. They're never giving you a start now button. Timers may get adjusted slightly, like Eclipse having 7 minutes and Borg having 5 minutes, but you're not getting a start now because the whole point is to have PvP. As far as defending, swarm it with numbers, use your Rialta, Fortune Spam, similar to how you would do territory capture. But to be completely frank, the PvP aspect of Armadas, even though they want it there, is awful. It's pretty lackluster. It's really just big ship come take little ship. There's not a lot to do there, and all they got to do is take out the leader, and then you're just kind of up the creek without a paddle. So there's not a ton of great strategies besides spam, and you can do that. You can use the spam strategy, and it works well, but just be mindful of that. You used to be able to do a lot of other things, like hiding under planets, hiding under nodes. They took that out, saying that wasn't fair, which was very dumb because it's very lore friendly. I mean, you watch plenty of Star Trek episodes where somehow they managed to hide their ship behind the magnetic pole of 15 moons, but not in Star Trek Fleet Command. So, preset officer teams per ship type. Zypho presets have actually been being worked on for 2 years. Whether they'll actually come out, I'd never know. Wish I could tell you. What did I think about the second half of the Real Madrid match today? Sorry, Alfonsi, I did not catch the glorious match that took place on the pitch today, but I plan to catch it on the recap that is known in America as Sports Center, because I did not catch the match. But I actually do really enjoy it, and it's actually been fun to talk to a lot of the community managers and dev teams of Star Trek Fleet Command, because they are actually super into all that stuff, and I watch it for fun. In fact, it's actually a growing sport in the States in terms of popularity. More and more big cities are getting their own teams and everything, so I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big sports guy, so. Had to turn off the stream as I'm back at work. Miss anything good? Yeah, John, you missed everything good. In fact, screw you and the horse you rode in on, and never speak to you again. Thanks. Great. How about a cloaking device? Funny enough, General Zod, the special ability of the Bird of Prey is called Cloaking Device, which is pretty much just a troll. It's just purposely there to make you frustrated. So, yeah, I would love a cloaking device. How that would actually work in the game, I'm not sure. I don't even know if there is anything in the code line that would allow that. I mean, I think that had to be not only created, but possibly would mess with other mechanics in the game. So I'd be very curious how that would actually work. Maybe similar to the shield system for a ship, except it makes it invisible. I have no clue, to be really honest with you. I'm just spitballing. Opinions on a raid-specific miner. A miner that has huge cargo, but no protected cargo and bad mining speed. Love the idea, Shy Andy. It's actually what many of us have pushed forth, and credit to Caution, one of the moderators in the official Discord. That was one of their ideas, to take the sarcophagus and turn it into a massive raid boat. Give it some research that jumped its cargo up to a couple million. It's still slow as crap on impulse speed, but give it several million cargo and see if that could make up for it and give it a little bit more value. Because most people don't like their sarcophagus or use the sarcophagus or care that it exists. But that obviously has not happened. So y'all just give me lots of good news here. Wow. Scotty says, can I join Server 36 and take out the Alliance Super? Yeah, let me just jump right on in there with all my non-existent money to make a level 50 account and just destroy an entire alliance. Sorry, Scotty. Can't do it. Can't do it. And shout out Relevant Joker. Good to see you. All right, let's see if we get any more chats here on the Server 36 side of things. If you all right, now we just got more conversation. With all the time you've spent with Scopely, do you have a sense of why they have such contempt for their players? Poor customer service and poor quality code. This is a serious question, hopefully not a waste of time. Would you expect it to ever change? Well, Mox, I guess the answer to your question is really subjective to your own experiences, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I have found that in the past year, and yes, Tyler, they're blue light glasses because staring in front of monitors and stuff has really given me migraines lately. But I have found that in the past year and 2 years that it has been an incredible improvement in terms of community support. Customer service support. I mean, most of the support that you've got, like even when this PC client just rolled out and people lost their accounts because they didn't read print and they put their, Scopely ID to level 4 account, have gotten mostly quick responses. I think it has improved. Now, is it to the level that you personally probably want? Obviously not. But I will say that there are a lot of ways the game has improved a great deal. I'm not trying to put on a shill cap and go into an insane shill mode here, but compared to what this game was in 2019, they are far more open to change, far more open to player feedback, far more open to actually taking some of those things and using it. At the same time, you have to remember that Scopely itself is not a game company. Scopely is a marketing company that buys game developers and then has their own set of algorithms and everything that they use for purchasing. That best thing I could describe to what Scopely invents, Scopely has invented the system to make as much money as possible off you using their pack system and their algorithms and their demographical studies. Game companies like Fox Next, who does Marvel Strike Force, and Digit, who do Star Trek Fleet Command, often have actually fantastic ideas that never make it to the table. Let me give you an example of a fantastic idea that was originally supposed to happen in the game and supposed to have been built on at this point. And this is not me releasing some secret dev engineer information. This is just stuff from me knowing from working with them for 3 years, that each faction originally had plans for sub-factions. There was actually the entire designs around things like Andorians, Vulcans, Tellarites, Arconians, I think the Gorn, all that, Nausicaans. All these factions, which originally the game wanted you to go one faction, and then you would have several sub-factions to go into. And then as a game developer, you have all these great ideas. Then you run into the good overlords of Scopely, which is basically, hey, will this make us money? What's the time frame? How many man hours do I have to spend on this? What do I have to do month-wise? All these things come into, and what you end up getting is a much more broken down, condensed version of, hey, we can make this happen instead. That doesn't mean that all the good things that you want can't ever come to the game. It's just that not only is it a fight for us to get it to happen, you also have to fight and justify it from a monetary standpoint, because the state of gaming, not just mobile gaming, but the state of gaming itself in 2021 is it has become so much of a business-oriented aspect because it's such a profitable business. Streaming and esports is supposed to hit, I think, $2 billion this year. It is a wildly growing market. So they're going to have to cater to what the big monies and the stockholders want them to do. So part of what you're asking is, yes, the game is going to get better in terms of listening to you, and they definitely have. Are some things ever going to change in terms of the format that they're doing things? No, because that's what the great overlords at every game company are doing. And it's not just Scopely, by the way. Go check out what EA is doing, what their microtransactions and their bleeding of people. Check out what, to an extent, NetEase has done. Check out Blizzard. It's a long list of companies who all do the same format. And it's because that's where the market has gone, and because that's where the demographics of gamers have allowed it to happen. There are players in this game, believe it or not, who have spent over $1 million on Star Trek Fleet Command. Now you tell me, Mox, if you have people that you know that you can get $1 million from with this style of product, would you change for the guy who will give you 20? Obviously not. So we have to fight as much as we can to not only justify the idea as good, but to justify that it will also make the company money. And that's the new fight. Back in the day, a lot of you old school gamers would just go to the devs and be like, look, this is really cool. You'll sell more copies of your game. It's no longer about selling copies of the game. Selling copies of the game doesn't make any money. Madden, which releases every year from EA, makes more money from their Madden Ultimate Team online microtransactions than they do actually selling the game for $60. So that's just kind of this weird thing, and I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just giving you a very long-winded explanation of why things are the way they are, not only in this game, but games of its style, and how we have to go about getting the change and how we have to focus our complaints. It can't just be like, hey, this sucks, give us this. It has to be, here's a great idea, and here's why it's great for me and for you. And that's what I've learned in 3 years of getting into gaming and working with multiple gaming companies and working with multiple community managers and all this, that it's all about the almighty dollar. Big oof. Y'all can all log off now. All the depression is now set in. Oh, I feel like Mox is typed. I want to go see what Mox said to some of the things that I said. Thinking more about the base code, the fact that there are multiple people that you have to submit tickets to just to get an answer, poor quality features, weirdly terrible officers, lack of willingness to fix typos. Now, all that, 100% with you, Mox. That is just some really lazy. And to be frank, I got onto them about that this week. I griped at an engineer, or I'm not going to even say their type of position because I don't want to give away who they are. But I griped at them for lazy mechanics, essentially. And we were talking about exocomps. I'm like, look, the way you design this is so lazy. It's literally a copy and paste of the research system. And it is. And I hate it. And sure, I'm right there with you, Mox. I will fight to the death of why the heck has DJ Aoki's stupid tooltip not been fixed to read how he actually works. He doesn't work like that. That's not how he works. We all know it's not how he works. Fix it. I don't know what to say about that. It's just laziness. And I don't know what to do with that. But I can say as a whole, the main things that you mentioned, communication, features in the game, that's better. Laziness, that's still there. So, did you have something to say?
You've got two questions about G4 armadas that I noticed. One's asking about Riker Beverly and 6 for armadas, and especially in dark space about using them. So
all right, wow, Soggy, that folder looks very familiar. Better be careful with that folder. Okay, anyway, where was that question? Do you remember?
729.
729. Assuming you're in Central Time.
Yes, sorry.
All right, what's the best way to handle G4 armadas, especially when you only have a certain number of players that can reach level 43 or 44 armadas? Okay, Trouble. First thing, don't do them. I mean, to be completely frank, if you don't have enough G4 ships, you're just going to blow up against them. What makes G4 armadas so difficult is, and if you've ever looked at them, and I might have to just fly up to or disco to Hollis to kind of show it off, but like you take, I think it's the, I'm gonna try to from memory, the 42 uncommon has got like 400,000 armor, 400,000 shield, and 400,000 dodge. That's basically, they have the defense stats of the Pilum, Coronar, and Newton. So the tricky issue here is if you try to take your Enterprise up there, my maxed Enterprise right now has got 216,000 accuracy. So it automatically only has half the amount of accuracy needed to beat the mitigation of that Armada. So I have to find a way to get above that. Now, the first answer you're going to say is 6 of 10. Awesome. Even with 6 of 10 giving you a cumulative boost to your base, it's still going to take you a few rounds to even get above that mark for the Armada. Which all we're doing there is we're trying to take the Armada having like 60% mitigation down to like 20%, because that means we're getting more damage to the actual hull of the Armada. And that's what makes the big level 40 plus Armada so much different. Is you can take a tier 5 Enterprise to a level 39 Armada and still be able to get down to like 30 mitigation pretty easily, because the numbers are generally lower and they typically only favor one type, whereas the big ones up in 4-star space are just built stronger. They're built beefier. So you kind of have to get carried by the Valdors, the Katingas, the Pilums, and it's not that you can't do them. It's just you have to understand how they're actually designed mechanically and what you have to do to try to raise above that with officers. Using things like 6 of 10 to raise your mitigation, because it doesn't matter how hard you're hitting. If that Armada's got 70% mitigation on you, almost nothing you're doing is actually making it to the hull of that Armada. So it comes down to when you pull up the scan of an Armada, hitting that little I button and going, okay, what are the stats here? And what can we do to get above those? And remembering that you have a lot of things that will work for a group. So you talk about using support chips. Remember that if you do a hull breach on a Armada, everybody can use that hull breach. And that means everybody's criticals are going to get a 1.5 multiplier. So running group sets, if you don't have like the 50s to kind of carry you through, being very strategic in how you run out. Probably the worst thing that you can do in a G4 Armada is run out there with Kirk Spot Con. It's about guaranteed you're going to lose. You're not getting the mitigation that you need to jump above, especially if we're using like lower tier ISS jellies and augers and D4s. And all you're doing is keeping your shields up. You've got to find a way to go above and beyond that. And it's one of the reasons that the Riker, 6 combos have become so popular, and the Riker Bev combo, because Bev's boosting your mitigation, which increases your survivability, and then 6 and Riker giving you more damage and piercing stats to make their mitigation go lower and put more damage down on the table. So really it comes down to just knowing what you have and understanding how the Armadas work. I hope that answered the question, because it's a very super long way of saying get better.
Well, I'm also level 49. I got pretty decent ships. I'm in the alliance with Soggy, and we're trying to get a lot of our that build up and get to the G4 ships. And we're having an issue with that because most of them are free to play, or if they do put any money into it, it is very limited. Well, but I also had another question too, and when you mentioned 6 to 10, the amount of grinding to 200,000 or plus active nano probes to level him out, and as far as any of the Borg officers, besides just straight up going and using every transwarp cell you have for the day, do you know if there's any way or any talks of them maybe putting out like a better way of doing that?
So the only change that you've had, and it came pretty recently, is the Borg Armadas. Now, obviously we don't have Borg Armada tokens just being handed out willy-nilly right now, but they changed the Borg Armada token Armada payouts. So if nobody's cleared them out, they're still going to show the inert nanoprobes. When new Borg Armadas spawn, new Borg Armadas actually pay out active nanoprobes, the green ones, the ones that you need for officers. So while we haven't gone back into another Borg arc yet, that is something that they've kind of preemptively done to work on that in the future. I don't know of any other ways they're going to do that. I know there are talks of adding, say, like other, Borg officers to transporter patterns and stuff, but that's not really going to help with the active nanoprobes. The only real thing that you can do active nanoprobes is there's the prime that you can get to help increase the amount that you're getting every day, and then just make sure you're doing your dailies. And if you do just happen to have a bunch of leftover Borg tokens, resetting a couple of those Borg Madas that are sitting out there to do active probes can help you get a little bit more. But it's a heck of a grind, Trouble. It's a heck of a grind. I'll also say you're breaking up really badly, so I'm not sure if you're talking or what. And Tyler, I didn't say that. I don't know if that's true or not, Tyler. I see you over there on YouTube.
That happened. I'm a truck driver. Right? My earpiece is apparently a piece of crap today. No, I was asking, are they going to plan on putting like any new Borg packs in like they do for the officers, ultra recruits?
So there is a Borg pack for active nanoprobes. It just doesn't come around very often. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it or if 36 should have seen it, but there is a pack that they sell for active nanoprobes. I don't know of anything specific, like a new pack coming out for that type of thing, no.
Well, dang. That would make it a lot easier.
Yeah, even for the whales, when that pack comes around, you still have to spend thousands to really get a lot of these officers updated. It's a huge pain point in the game. That and independent credits, and I did a video on it about a month ago. Huge pain point.
I'm thinking about it. Everybody knows on 36 I talk a lot, but oh well. Is there any plans on making in the G4 Epic Armadas, the ships for the credits any easier to get? Like the chances for a full unlock instead of like 1%, maybe like a 10 or 15% chance to full unlock?
Not only no, but hell no.
Yeah.
No, there's no chance they're going to adjust that loot table to let you get those ships easy. That's just not going to happen. I mean, now the loot table is pretty similar, like the 3-star and the 4-star Armada loot table. I'm pretty sure they are. I'd have to ask to confirm that. So like things like uncommons and rares do have a better chance, but are they going to ever make it to where you're getting a lot or easy? No, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, it's too much of a potential loss of revenue. Because there are people who, when they get to the level, say 46, go out and buy a crap ton of officer packs just so they can get the credits needed to unlock it if they haven't done enough saving through events and dailies and stuff. So, and this was, now keep in mind, this was an issue when 40 Plus first came out. Like, they were freaking out because the drop rates in like Soul were, and I hate to word it like they were handing out Kelvins like candy, but Whales would essentially go to Soul, hit maybe 3,000 hostiles, and they had all the blueprints for their Kelvin, all of them. So they adjusted the drop rates to make them even lower. So they are not keen on just making it easy to procure a lot of these ships. They want it to either be a hard grind or money. So.
Okay, well, what about making it easier to maybe max the ships as far as the uncommon parts and stuff are concerned?
So all will get there, and they have improved that through things like researches, the efficiency researches and stuff we have, and then they're paying out more in events now. They're providing more raw resources. So in time, they do provide more to the game's economy to make it easier. In terms of changing the raw numbers the ship needs, no. But putting out more research for 4-star stuff, putting out more resources in the game in terms of uncommons, the events pay and everything, that is something they do, and they do it, kind of, it's like an ongoing thing. I'd say about once or twice a year, you'll see small incremental improvements to that. A good example is we've had in the Battle Pass, and this includes the events because the Battle Pass events used to be separate from the Battle Pass payouts. But the uncommon totals have about doubled in about a year and a half. Still not a ton, but they are slowly increasing it. And then they'll put out events like you have the Jelly Brawl, Parabellum, different high-level events that will help a little bit. But that's only as new stuff comes out, they make the previous stuff easier to obtain.
I was meaning as far as the packs are concerned. Like, I'm a level 49, so I have access to, like, ship-specific interceptor packs and everything like that.
Yeah.
And just recently, they boosted it up to a little over 6,000 uncommon parts per pack. And do they plan on, or is there anything they plan on boosting it to maybe somewhere around 7,000 or 8,000 in the near future?
So they're not going to boost something they've already recently boosted. I will say that level 50, unless it's been removed, has its own set of packs that you're describing, has its own level bracket of packs that was actually helped designed by a level 50 named Warp Mazer, who's on, I think, server 47. Anyway, he helped design the level 50 version, which pays out even more than that current 49 one does. So I don't think they're going to adjust it again. They do adjust those packs based on server age and things like that at some point, but after they just thank you, Michael, server 44. But I don't think that they're going to do it like again in a quick fashion.
Well, I mean, I'm not in a quick fashion, but eventually.
Well, I mean, we can use the word eventually to mean anything. That's kind of like Scopely's trademark, coming soon. It's sure, but if you just got one, don't expect one for another 12 months or so.
Well, I guess that's fair. How could they make their money?
I mean, yeah, because and eventually when you get more people into the 40s, then you've got to put 50 plus up there, and then, and I can already tell you this for just how it's going to be. A year from now, it'll be a third to, I don't know if I want to say a full third or a half, but it'll be significantly cheaper to get a Pilum in a year from now than it is to right now, because there'll be other things that they've come out with. So that's just kind of the nature, and they view it as anything new is a premium. Level 50 is still a premium, so it's still a pretty 49 and 50 is a much bigger jump than compared to say 40 to 46, and you would know because you're there. So you're right in the middle of that premium area where they still very much believe it should cost to operate every day.
And they definitely make it cost to operate every day.
Yep. Let's see if we can get a couple of more. Not that I think you got bad questions trouble. I just want to make sure that we're getting everybody's questions in. Sevi says, at Ops 39, should I start stockpiling G4 raw mats? How much should I save up? So I'm going to come with an opinion that maybe not everybody agrees with, and that's fine if you don't. If you're watching and you disagree, please tell me in the YouTube comments or whatever. Personally, I don't think that you need to hoard up that many G4 mats at level 39. Because the reason you did all the hoarding in like the 20s and 19 is because it was hard to mine that stuff because you didn't have a good miner. You could take a G3 faction miner and go mine 4-star just as easily as you can anything else. You can warp up to those hub systems in like the early faction spaces, and you can mine those pretty easily. What you need to be stockpiling, ship parts. That's way more important to be stockpiling than G4 ores, crystals, and gas. You need to make sure that if you're trying to stockpile for the 40s, that the types of ships you're hitting doing your dailies include dropping the broken ship parts. That's your big bottleneck in the game coming up. You're used to uncommons being your bottleneck, and at 49.50, that bottleneck definitely returns. But common ship parts and uncommon ship parts are going to be the next big thing that you are not looking forward to having to do. That's what you need to be focused on getting a stockpile of. And that you could actually be doing every day. As in, go ahead and start refining common ship parts every day at 39. Don't necessarily need to do that with the G4, crystal ores and gas. But the ship parts, yes. You want to have as big of a stockpile as you possibly can have for that. Let's see. Mike says, can you list some specific researches that give you G4 uncommon ship part efficiency? The ship part efficiency. I would have to go into the research tree and meander about real quick. I don't have that pulled up. But I'll look for you, Mike. I will. Let's see if we got any more Server 36 questions before we jump in. Says, did I miss my Armada answer? I think so. Let me go back up and make sure. I know you said that Server 36 was completely free to play, which was a really good chuckle I got. Thank you. I appreciate that. First rule of Server 36, don't talk to Troublemaker. That's rude. He has some good questions. Come on. Be nice to your whales. You never know when they'll buy you a meal. Or hit your base. One or the other. They both tend to happen a lot. Oh, let's see. All right, I think... I must have missed it because I don't see anything.
I think he might be referring to the question about using specifically say Riker, Beverly, or Crusher, and using 6 of 10 for Armadas.
Oh, okay. So comparative to what exactly? And by the way, shout out Sagi. He had the list pulled up. Thank you so much for that. And there are the researches on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, so you can see the different, well, exactly what you asked for. So enjoy. But as far as the crews go, I guess it's I guess what's our target? Are we doing rare 4 stars? Are we doing eclipse? I mean, what are we trying to hit? Because really, it comes down to the basics of 6 is amazing because 6 is one of the few things in the game that cumulatively boost your base stats. So your base piercing stats get boosted by 6. So everything, all your research, all those bonuses are continually growing or being, growing is not the right word. They have more effect because your base number is getting bigger. So 6 of 10 is a universally great officer. Probably top 5, top 10 officers in the game. The best officers in the game are the Trinity officers. Charvinick, Marcus, Kang. To me, those are the top 3 officers that exist. 6 of 10 is right smack there. Khan, right smack there. And then there's a couple of others that require help but are really, really good. Like Lorca Tilly is a great combo, but by themselves are not as amazing as, say, Marcus is. But I guess it's more detail on the question. And, okay. Shai found it. Riker, Bev, and 6 for Armada, specifically Dark Space. So, I mean, I think that's a good generic loadout. Like, you know how we talked so long about Kirk Spot Combi, the annoying generic loadout? That's what Riker Bev 6 is, but it's actually really good, I guess. Because you get 2 mitigation. You're boosting your mitigation, lowering your opponents, and you get a damage booster. And that's a lot of value to me. That's a lot of value. It's one of my favorites if you've got Bev up a little bit. Now, that's the key, though. It's not good if you've got like a tier 1 or a tier 2 Beverly, because you need to be able to have Beverly to where you can stack enough stats to where you can boost your mitigation up. It's going back to the Beverly Picard versus Pike Moreau debate. Moreau is technically better early on because Moreau dumps your opponent's piercing stats, which is easier than raising your stats up using your stat boosting, especially on a lower tier ship. So, like, example, let's say you've got a brand new shiny Valdor. It's gorgeous, but it's tier 2. So you've only got a couple officer slots. You can't stack enough stats with that ship and then like a tier 1 or tier 2 Beverly for her to be effective in that Armada. You're probably not going to see much of a mitigation change. That Armada is still going to rock your world. If you got a tier 5 ship and you've got a tier 3 or tier 4 Beverly, now it actually starts having an effect where your mitigation does rise enough to where you're not taking a lot of, or taking even more damage than you would if it wasn't raised up. Does that make sense? Hopefully, maybe. Yes, possibly. Okay. And shout out to you for the 99-cent sticker that you just posted on YouTube. Greatly appreciated. And YouTube guys, don't worry. I do see some of the comments that y'all are seeing, and it is appreciated. And I'm just trying to read through questions at the moment. All right, okay. I will take this question. I'm not sure if there's a right answer for it, but Edwina says, "What do you think of someone overspending on the game? Recently, someone on our server went from 46 to 49 in the last week, and then some say they've spent over 60,000 on the game in total." Doesn't bother me. I mean, you got to know your own budget, and this is not to be mean or not to be condescending or jealousy or anything, but a lot of people have entertainment budgets that are larger than what you make in a year. Now, this is not to start this whole Marxist debate about who should have money and how we should have communal wealth, any of that crap. Truth is, to some people, 30 grand is chump change. To me, that's a lot of money. That's literally what I'm trying to raise to get a down payment on a house. But there are plenty of people out there who can drop that and it doesn't hurt them at all. I have got friends who play this game that are whales that their entertainment budget generally involved going out and renting massive yachts, bringing on tons of women and alcohol and partying all weekend and spending tens of thousands of dollars for the heck of it. So they can afford to do it. You know, the individual that we just had on, Trouble. obviously has got some form of financial success. Doesn't mean they're super rich, but they're level 49. And as long as they're within their means, it's not my right to say good, bad on what they're spending. As long as they are within their means and they're not hurting themselves, spend what you want to spend. Enjoy yourself. And if that means that you're happy spending 10,000, 60,000, $1 million on the game, do it. I'm not going to, but you can. So now, if you have any concern that they are hurting themselves financially, like you hear that they literally are now homeless because their house got foreclosed on because they wouldn't pay their bills, okay, then maybe we need to try to escalate that to somewhere. But in general, I leave people's money alone. It ain't my money, so I'm not worried about it. So, all right, what else we got? Soggy, what you got?
All right, my Discord was goofed up. Yeah, actually, it's gone a lot cheaper to get to level 50. With the increase in pack values as well as and research.
Well, I mean, when it came out, getting to level 50 was about 6 digits.
Oh God, yeah.
And now, realistically, you give it 6 months, you could get there for less than half that price, easily.
Oh yeah, I haven't even spent. I don't think I've spent over 30,000. I might have. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to go look. But I've probably spent around 25 to 30. And I'm 49 and 50. That's a pain.
It is. I mean, it's a big jump, and that's why I said 40 through 46 pales to what 49 to 50 is. It's a big jump.
Yeah, I'm. Actually looking back, 40 to 48 wasn't that bad. Especially with how they're paying out in events now. I mean, just in the past month, I'm getting 4 billion par still from 30 minutes in an event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
And at the end of the day, it goes back to what I said. And Sagi, you don't have to answer this if you want to, but your entertainment budget, you're not hurt when you're spending this, right? You're fine. You good?
No. This is all. I put aside money for myself, my wife, and my kid every month and stuff like that. And whatever we spend is just that's extra after our own entertainment budget.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what people need to realize is and it could be difficult for you to get that idea when you aren't at that level. I mean, to somebody out there, $5,000 is a significant sum of money. But I mean, if you make just in your head, just say your family income makes $250 a year, $5,000 is not a lot. I mean, that's not a lot of money to spend on something. So as long as people are staying within their means, I leave alone. I don't want to touch anybody else's money. Y'all spend it however you want to. All I ask is that you give me about, I'd say if everybody gave me 10% of what they sent Scopely, I'd be doing really well. Okay, that's all I ask. Give me 10% of what you give Scopely. Okay, we're good now.
Speaking of which, speaking of helping out Rev Deuce.
Oh, appreciate that, Sagi. Sagi just dropped the PayPal. It is appreciated.
Yeah, you want to give a little spiel on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you and Troublemaker would like to co-sign on my new house, that would also be greatly appreciated. Tell that to all my new wells. So if you want an entertainment budget, man, I will do some things for you that are very entertaining or disturbing, depends on your point of view.
I got a boat.
Oh, so you've already got one money pit. Why not add a second?
I got a boat and I got some attire for you.
Andrew says officer sourcing generally needs to improve drastically. 100%. I mean, officer sourcing it's tough because me and DJ got into, I wouldn't say we got into an argument. We have different opinions about values of importance on different things. And he was like, well, what's the number one thing that you think players want in the game? And I mean, well, geez, let me sit down and make a top 5. But officer sourcing is definitely in there. And to an extent, it even affects whales. I mean, whales are still bound by the RNG if they want to max out their 10 of 10 or, I mean, because I don't know if y'all have noticed, and I don't honestly know why, there's a limit that you can go buy some of these epic officers. Like, they limit you to 4. Like, they just want you to unlock it. They don't, you could spend 6,000 to get Picard max, but they won't let you do it. I don't know why. So officer sourcing as a whole is a huge problem. And the more that they've added, which is nice, the more clustered and the harder to procure officers have gotten, because by extension, you've now made it harder to, when you go spend that premium token, its value is less now than it was 2 years ago, because there's now more that it can be spread across. So at least with the discovery, they gave you its own system that you can slowly grind on, but then the drop rates for them are awful, and there's no chance for a full pull. So Sagi, do you have a max Giorgio?
It's funny. I still do not even have Giorgio unlocked.
Yikes. Level 49 doesn't have Giorgio. So officer sourcing, obviously, tremendous problem. Jason says Jayla Shards for Swarm Sundays and Borg Jayla. So you can still get Jayla Shards, by the way. If you go launch a rare Swarmada, you got a small chance. Chance. It does work, by the way. It does work. I have confirmed it many times. You will get some. Just, I don't know if that's the most efficient use of your rare Armada directives.
I've seen it a few times in the past month. People got Jayla Shards.
But don't worry, that is something that we completely hound them on. That is something that we've asked the devs in terms of in our monthly Q&A. And one of the things that we're going to talk about in the next Q&A, I've already been putting down questions. We're going to be talking about officer sourcing, but also we'll be talking about when's the next time that the Vidar skin comes around. When are we going to make that more available? When are we going to make the Meridian skin available again? Because as much as people might hate skins, I love the way the Meridian skin is set up. Meridian skin lets you get an extra pull. Yes, thank you. All this 10 million ISO that I have OPC hunted, I can now use with an extra pull. So Trouble says they unlock Jayla doing Armadas. Wow, now I feel bad because I literally just said that's an inefficient use of Armadas, and Trouble's like, nope, that's what I did. I'm like, okay, cool. That's nice. But, okay, here's the real one, Trouble. Have you leveled up Lorca by running Deep Space Armadas? There's you one. There's you one.
It's funny. I don't even have Lorca.
All right, Sagi, I'm starting to doubt you're level 49. What are you up there with?
No, okay, so I have Lorca and Giorgio on my level 34 account. But my level 49, nope. So there's my current officers.
Well, I've got 33 out of 34 Tau shards. That's nice. Well, hey, if you're watching on YouTube and you see this on your screen, now don't feel so bad about your officer problems. Here's a level 49 who doesn't even have hairy mud. No double shots for you. All right, Server 36, if y'all are sitting here, if y'all got more questions, throw them in. If not, we're going to start grabbing some more questions from the YouTube chat because I know they've been waiting patiently, but we're going to get it from everybody. James asks, does refinery level impact refinery output? Yes and no. The yes is at different levels, there is what's called a loot table. So just imagine like a nice Excel spreadsheet, and each box has a percentage chance of you getting this amount. So like if you went up to say level 38 from 39, it's not going to make that 7 uncommon you normally get turn into 8. But what it might do is give you a better chance of getting the next box over, which is 16. Does that make sense? So it doesn't like manually improve the number of uncommon you get, but it might give you a better chance to get the better box in the loot table. That's how it increases it, which, if you want me to go ahead and say it, is an awful way to do it. It should actually just give you a guaranteed more amount as you level up. Instead, it's set up to be a gate on purpose. Yeah. Shout out Server 56. There you go, Jason. Shout out to him. Ruben says, Ferengi mining officers. I did a video on that a year and a half ago. They said, hey, we love this idea. It's great. And it's never turned into anything. So now we wait. What is the chance of having a Tal Shards event? Now that he supposedly fixed Thrall. Keep in mind, this is the third time he supposedly fixed. Third time. Then you'll probably be able to start procuring him. But now, just to be real, it's not a big desire to have him. The whole point of having him was how he could rig the system and just make your hostile grinding days way easier. Now that that's fixed, I don't even want him. So, rip. Yeah, rip. With the Devore mining rates, do we really need the miners? First of all, Tiger, I don't need your type of negativity. Yes, we do need Ferengi officers in the game, okay? And second of all, if you would have watched my video, Tiger, you would know that not every Ferengi officer I recommended had anything to do with Latinum. In fact, I think only 2 did. I had designed PvP officers in Ferengi, PvE officers. I put in a lot of work in that video. Enough for Scope to even be like, hey, this is pretty good. And then they just, dumped on me by never bringing it up again. Maybe I should just, repost it. Take it down and then just put it back up on the internet again. To be fair, this did come out in November of last year, so it's not like it was recent. But I gave them, I think it was 8 officers. No, 7. I gave them 7 officers. 7 officers from Star Trek that they could use, and then gave them actual abilities, ideas, what the characters were. We just have to keep pushing for that. Now, I will tell you that there have been some people that are on our side, y'all, like some engineers and devs who also are pushing for a market style system, and Ferengis being a part of that. So, keep screaming. Keep screaming. Tiger says PvP is not the Ferengi way of profit. Tiger, you're showing your lack of Star Trek lore knowledge because if you remember in the DS9 canon, there was a Ferengi assassin. So, not all Ferengi are driven by profit. Some are driven by the lust of blood, I guess. Anyway, I'm way too nerdy about Star Trek. I apologize. What other questions do we have? Oh, God. What other questions?
Whenever I was going to have us talk about the ARC, speculations for next month after everybody gets their questions out of the way.
Oh, man.
I know that's going to be a heated topic for a lot of people.
Well, to be real, and DJ said this. Now, y'all gotta remember that I don't have an NDA. So when I get information, it's by me going to ops members, engineers, devs, moderators, whoever I can get to, and getting the stuff from them. And sometimes I get it ahead of time. Sometimes I do not. DJ and No One Shall both said today, and Ares has been on vacation, so this is why, that they have not even gotten their meeting yet on what the next arc entails. I have an idea of some of the stuff upcoming. I don't know when all of it's coming. I've told y'all a little bit about Photon tokens. We've talked about the Enterprise D before, but I don't have timetables on some of this. We assume that the TNG arc is 5 arcs, which would make the next one the last one. I can't say for sure that that's the case, even though a Scopely, press release said that it was 5 arcs. You still never know with them. They could have added another one. But I don't know. I think it's the last one, but I don't know for sure. And I haven't had a chat with anybody that was willing to give me something that I could hit with. Does that make sense? So, we could talk about Enterprise D and theorize. I can tell you right now that Sagi and Trouble are probably the only ones that are getting it. But...
No.
At least for now. But
just to speculate on it, the level 50 ships, to get enough credits for those, it's about it's a little over $5,000 just to get the blueprints.
And by the way, good point. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
But I want to say good point to Slag in our YouTube, who said that they swore that they would never do the TOS officers again. And it's funny that you bring that up, because remember, they ran the TOS salvage recruit again. They said they would never do that. This was the last time, spend all you got. And what's hilarious, and I guess this actually points back to who was it that was talking earlier about the incompetence of Scopely? Shout out to whoever that was. I'm sorry, I forgot your name already. I promise it's not because I hate you. I really suck at remembering everybody's name. But funny enough, I talked to the ops lead who was in charge of that month. He had no idea that they had ever said that. So that's why you had TOS officers come out that month that you could spend salvage on. He had no idea that they had said that. So the communication inside is not always that great. So things are subject to change was the point of what I was making there. Anyway, what do we want to do now? Somebody said theorize Enterprise D, and Jason says that. Theorize on it. Goobus wants to know about a Cardassian arc. I doubt you get a Cardassian arc. You might get Cardassians part of a DS9 arc. I would love a Cardassian faction, which they seem to be hinting at, but it's not official.
They have so in the game, they have they actually have a faction already implemented. It's just not live inside the game, and I know this because
Sage.
I've delved deep into my my sources. But what?
You're going to get me in trouble saying some of this stuff.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like there's things for like Vulcan faction and Marauders, as well as Andorians and Arconians and
while true,
some other stuff, and Orions.
A lot of that stuff was original development ideas that are no longer happening. So
yeah, that is true. But they're still in the game. It's just not,
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that they've made. Like there's stuff that they've made. Tiger, I know that they have, but at the same time, we are live on YouTube, and devs do watch my stream, so I don't want to get me in trouble for one about pushing stuff. If y'all want to go play, Robin Hood and give to the poor information, cool. Just be very wary of when I'm live and when we're doing that, because I'm not a part of those type of nefarious activities. Of course, I'm a very stand-up individual, very straight edge. But anyway, point being that there's even stuff that they've come out with that they wanted to put in the game that would have been really cool, that CBS was like, nope, I don't care if you made it already, can't release it. So you've also got to remember that not only do you have a wall that you have to worry about with Scopely, like, hey, does this make us money? You also have CBS Viacom, who will just out of nowhere be like, nope, I don't want you to do that. I want you to put that in there. And you'll be like, why? Nope, just can't do it. So it's there's a lot of layers to this. And that's what makes it so frustrating as a player, because you never know the reasonings. Like, why did you never get this ship in this movie, even though we already have this ship from the same movie? Well, could have very well been CBS is like, no, you can't use that one. Why the hell not? Nope, we said so. So you just sit there going, well, okay, I guess. So it's weird. I mean, and that's annoying, because some of the stuff that Sagi has talked about is stuff that was like originally designed or developed, and I'm sure Sagi has then, knowing what I saw Sagi's desktop show, there's things that he's seen that are in the game that will never get released because CBS said no. So like, what do you do with it? How do you pass that along to a fan of your game? Players aren't going to understand that. Like, they're just going to want their stuff. They're just going to want their toy. And for you to put in the work because they asked you to do something, and then come back months later, have made the thing, and then be like, well, we can't do it. Sucks. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Scopely, but those instances have happened where, whether it be people or items were developed and never got in the game. A great example is Chekhov from the movies. Like, a lot of people have asked, well, why do we have Arkady, this knockoff Russian? Because the actor who played Chekhov in the movies died, and his family and everything in his estate will not allow his likeness and everything to be used. But when the game was being developed, there's an avatar and an actual design of that actor already set up. Will never be used in the game for obvious legal reasons. But they went through all the work to make the officer, to the description, to the 3D renderings, the avatars. Yeah. Tiger, the specific thing that I was mentioning, they do have rights to. And technically, CBS does have rights into everything now, Tiger. I'm not sure if you caught this, but last year there was a remerger. So CBS, Viacom, Paramount is all one again. So they actually, and that's why Star Trek Fleet Command has access to the series. All the movie rights, all the TV rights are now one again. So CBS does have, they just simply could say no on some things, which is really weird. Victor says, what is a good anti-Enterprise crew for a Saladin? Don't have Harrison. Marcus, Merritt, Krell, if they're all at least tier 4, maybe tier 3, depending on the Enterprise. Marcus, Merritt, Krell. Andy says, Trek corporate dad and Trek corporate mom got remarried. Yeah, for like the third time. Because like they've done this in Split multiple times. I'm not an IP lawyer or anything, so I don't know why, but it has happened. It's weird. Any chance we ever get a massive refinery where we can get rid of the extra inventory that we never use? Like the bonus refinery? Which, don't let me forget, by the way, I'm going to bug them every other month for a bonus refinery. My hope is to slowly work it into them being like, oh, this is just what we do now. I managed to get us a bonus. So it's one of my crowning achievements is I got us the bonus refinery the last time. I'm very proud of that. I'm hoping to do that again. And then I would say that Ripper is the one that got y'all the extra Meridian warp interlocks and stuff. I mean, he really fussed on that, then I fussed on that, and it made it through. So I'm going to push next month to get another bonus refinery, but we'll see if that happens. Oh, you mean items that have no use anymore, like an exchange? Doubtful. Be cool, though. Yeah, I mean, you mean like my Batleth tokens that I have from February 2019?
You know that Spock shard?
Yeah.
That we got like 2 years ago or even longer. That has absolutely no use in the game.
Yeah, there's even a Spock gotcha token like to get specifically Spock. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
That's because they would run promotions about getting certain officers, and that's how they would give the officer out and stuff.
Oh.
Gotcha token.
Gotcha, right?
It's a funny tongue in cheek.
G-A-C-A-K.
But that's the name of any recruit token. Like the ultra recruit token in the back end is a ultra gotcha token. That's what it's called.
Yep.
Oh, so you don't have to thank me. Like that's like one thing in 3 years I've managed to get through. So it's not like I'm over here like winning for the people. I got one win that I can brag about. It's not like I've got a litany of them. How often do the bonus ultra officer pools come around? So the great thing about Star Trek Fleet Command, Victor, is that there is literally no scheduling or consistency. It's so there is no guaranteed when the next ×2 officer event comes around. It's whenever the dev who's in charge of that month thinks, hey, maybe I should do that. Because that's how it typically runs, is you'll go through different dev teams who are in charge of this month or this arc and this, and it swaps through. And by the way, that's not new. That's pretty normal. Anybody who's worked in any type of project management knows you don't have the same person, the same team on the same thing for forever. There's generally a rotation in the group for these type of projects. But when you're coming out with event style stuff, not like, obviously you wouldn't have somebody come halfway install a router and then another person finishes the install. But that is one of the many things that they have to be harped on. Consistency.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a shuttle bay, the game glitched a bit for you and you had to mark it for a minute. David, I don't believe you. Screenshots or GTFO. I don't believe you.
Yeah, this month's arc was a complete mess with how they planned out the scheduling and everything like that. Because I make a calendar every month as soon as they release the schedule, and I'm supposed to be on revision 5, but I was like, there's only a few days left. I'm not going to make another version of it.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I can't really blame the devs on that one, just because this is just a lackluster, like what was given in the actual arc was just pretty lackluster,
That's how, I mean, the Picard, the one where they were giving out Picard and Geordi, those are some pretty good arcs, give or take.
Yeah, it's like in this month there's nothing to really give out to be excited about. I mean,
no.
I mean, nobody wants a Troy event store.
Right, and, well, they haven't had an event store like, what we used to have in a while.
Yeah, because it comes at the end of every arc, and this one is the longest arc of all time, so we'll get one, but why is it... I mean, this is why I prefer arcs that last like 3 months, because then we would get 4 massive event stores a year. At this rate, we get like 2.5 a year. And it's just, for all the improvements they do that help the economy, this is taking a step back, because this is a way that people go through things for ship procurement and everything. Like, I still don't have a sarcophagus because I blow my cosmic cleanup stuff on trying to upgrade my Discovery, which is the dumbest ship to grind on in the world. But if I had a decent event store, I would have had the sarcophagus by now.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this next arc will be something, you know, entertaining and different, because these last few arcs have been pretty much rinse and repeat.
I mean, I'll admit, I like the Meridian arc. I thought it was a good mechanic in the game.
That was a good one.
But this arc, you know, last arc I gave, I think, an A- or something. This arc is getting like a D+, C. And it's not because the events are necessarily bad. It's just, it's an extremely boring month. I am very thankful that it wasn't a super buggy month, but there's just nothing here to get excited about. The officers are not really worth a flip. Worf and Troy are okay. Especially Worf is okay when maxed in the 40s. Like Sagi might somewhat enjoy him as a second Armada crew at 49. He's absolutely jack crap for everybody else in like the 20s and 30s. Troy is okay, I guess, but did we really need her? We've got Gala. I mean, it's just a very blah month. Very blah month. Exocomps have fallen flat. Hell, I talked to, one of Scopely, and they're like, yeah, this isn't what we wanted it to be. Like, we wanted it to be this, that, or the other grander, but with it being just a copy and paste of the research system, essentially, there's very few exocomps that you really care about. You care about the XP one, the 500% XP grinding, which you can't even get if you're level 25 anyway. You know, you care about like the max Armada one maybe, and some of the PvP ones are okay, but in general, it's just very lackluster.
Yeah. I believe I was getting around like 60,000 extra damage on my Newton. And I was like, well, that's not worth it.
Yeah, for a ship that can do over 2 million damage with a crit build.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm doing over 2 million damage a shot anyway. So it's not like it's making a big difference in the guy.
Yeah, because and this is why I complained at them, and this is why I called it lazy and useless. And DJ likes the exocomps because it's basically a free system, and I get that. But to me, the bonuses are so minuscule, because at level 49, just using you as an example because you're talking so much, you've got a 500% attack bonus with officers. You don't give a flying flip if you get another 80% from an exocomp. It's not making... And that's just one. That by your level, you should have well over 1,000% in bonuses. Easily. Between all the researches, territories, officer being 500%. Why do you care if you get another 80? I mean, it's not...
Yeah.
Who cares? So...
It doesn't... Yeah. And I believe that's to base. You know, like... Actually, it doesn't even feel like it's to base damage. It feels like it's more like to a fraction of base damage.
Yeah. For me, if like the combat stuff worked like the critical mechanic does, which multiplies on top of that, then I'll be like, oh, dude, this 40% is amazing. And then not only that, this month they sneakily fixed some officers that were broken in a good way, like Carol. She no longer does double what she's displayed. She used to give you a plus 80%. Now she only does plus 40%, as technically she was supposed to only do 40% anyway. But they went and nerfed things that were broken in our favor and then gave us exocomp. So I'm just not happy about this month. Just not happy about it. Yeah, I see the yawning intensifies.
I have my exocomp factory to, which is the max level you can get it to. And it's okay. It introduces another mechanic where you can trade, or you can exchange the materials required to upgrade it into the chips to purchase the exocomps and whatnot, which is very nice. Yeah.
And like I said, Justin, the ship XP boost, that is a good one. That is a very good exocomp. But the reason that exocomp is good is because there's literally no bonuses to XP grinding anywhere. So you notice it. It's kind of like how when Prime Officers first came out, it was the best thing in the game. And it's still good. But you now have 3 research trees that all have different improvements of officer stats. The effect of Prime Officers is felt less now than it was a year and a half ago. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it's not as good because now you have all these other researches that help. Like the away mission tree has got 4 different officer boosters. So the ship XP one feels amazing because there's nothing else. So it just like automatically you see the immediate returns. But it's like I explained when I did my 15% buff to buildings, that only translated to a 5.1% increase because I have all the other researches. So, yeah. Pick one, Deanna Troy or Beverly Crusher. Go, Deanna Troy. I mean, wait, for what? In the show or in the game, Ted Bear? Because in the show, give me the Betazoid. In the game, Beverly Crusher. Troy was useless in the show? No, she wasn't. Dude, she could feel emotions on a planet they were orbiting. You know how strong your mind's got to be for that? It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Did Ornery just say hi to their kids? I mean, I'm glad that you love your kids. I'm not sure they're watching the stream, but shout out Ornery Avocado. Adam, I love this. I sense hostility. No crap. They just aimed their weapons at us. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, as a regular player, I would much rather have a decently tiered Beverly Crusher than Deanna Troy. And Ornery says they are watching. Well, shout out to your kids. Wow. Normally, I don't have any children who watch the channel. It's mostly, my demographic is 35-year-old plus. People older than me. So.
Sorry, my Discord keeps messing up.
Anybody else got questions? Tachyon, YouTube, fly on my hat.
There's no questions. I've got a topic.
Goobicus, I definitely just called you old farts. I am a proud millennial. I mean, look at me. I quit my day job so I can sit on my butt and play video games. Yeah. And while you're watching me, hit up that PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Appreciate it. Can't do it without y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Super Vidar. I would love a Super Vidar. Vidar's one of my favorite ships in the game.
But, yeah, I would love a Super Vidar too. So, I don't know if you've already covered, or kind of dabbled in this, but speculations for this coming up arc. You know, rumors, anything going around the rumor mill.
I mean, the obvious rumor that most people are talking about is that the Enterprise D is coming.
Right, and like level 52 or something, or level 60.
I don't know about the level 60 part, but just the Enterprise D is coming.
Well, from my sources, they say level 60 is coming. And then on top of that, the special Photon tokens that they said it'd be around sometime either, this month or next month, but obviously not this month. So I'm guessing next month is when they're actually going to release them. For the other servers that don't have it yet.
The 60 plus one, I haven't heard it confirmed coming before the start of next year, but it very well could. Very well.
Yeah,
could.
they didn't say
or the 50 plus
specifically.
Rather.
They didn't say specifically when 60 was coming, just that it is coming, that it is planned.
But it's also kind of obvious, like you've got to. And I can actually answer Troublemaker's question.
Oh, that would be legit.
So Troublemaker is referencing the USS Vengeance. Now, because Soggy is a hacker, he should have already seen this. But they actually did create a model for that never made it into the game. One of the main reasons it didn't make it into the game is they never fully fleshed it out, and they got access to the rest of the IP. As much as I do enjoy the 3 Kelvin movies, call me blasphemous all you will, Star Trek fans, most of y'all weren't head over heels about the 3 new movies, which includes The Vengeance. So when they started working on their deal to get the IP to things like The Next Generation, V6 9, the original series, Discovery, that type of stuff got shelved. I don't know if it'll ever make it into the game, because even what they were working on, Trouble, wasn't even finished. Like, in fact, Sagi might not have even recognized it's there, but it was worked on. It was worked on.
Well, what's funny is how the game actually works is on the client side is they have placeholders for a lot of things, and you actually download the full resolution textures and stuff like that, and some of the models even at every time you log into the game.
Which is why you have so much lag, everybody.
Oh god! Oh my god! I was actually okay. So I wasn't hacking the game. I was just doing some maintenance type stuff. Some
Hackers.
quality of life stuff.
Hackers.
And I saw how many. Okay, so on mobile devices, there's a thing called, well, actually in any rendering, there's a thing called draw calls, which instructs the GPU to draw a model or something, right?
Yep.
So for every node, mining node, whatever it may be, there's about 7 draw calls. And typically on mobile devices, you don't want to go above like 100, And back in the day, you really didn't want to go over 20 draw calls. So a lot of the lag we actually see is actually just because the devices can't handle it.
Which is one of the reasons, by the way, that when I get on here and I'm always saying, like, yes, your lag is real, but it may not be experienced by everybody else. And one of the reasons they struggle to fix it. It just comes down to their game is coded very poorly. And you can't just fix lag with the way it's set up. When you load in this game and literally everything that exists in the game is reloading, like it's pulling all the packets, you can't do anything about that unless you have a very good device. It's one of the reasons that I'm actually excited for the PC client, because my hope is they devote.
Do you not have it?
Well, I mean, I do have it, but what I'm saying is my hope is for lag purposes that if they devote more bandwidth to it on the server side, my PC can easily handle those requests a hell of a lot better than your phone can. So maybe the PC side will have less lag, but that's only if they actually devote enough to allow that to happen.
Yeah, from initial testing on the PC version, it does run better than mobile.
100%. Yeah.
And what's surprising, it renders upside down, and then it flips it every single time it's finished drawing. But
have you? I mean, I know you're probably going to pick up Ripper's mod to the client, but have you?
Oh yeah, I already did.
I haven't downloaded it yet because we were streaming, but have you attempted? We've already passed the point of no return at this point. Have you attempted log parsing yet?
Actually, that was on the schedule.
Well, I'm just saying
that was actually something planned.
For those curious, it's already started happening. People are using the PC client to parse the battle logs.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited about that. Now, I might not be able to go out and be like, hey, everybody, look at this cool new mods you can have, but I can use this information to explain the game better to y'all. So,
yeah, what's the surprising thing is, I've actually dabbled in this for quite some time, but every time you make a request, it sends a god awful amount of information, like even information that's not even useful for what you're doing.
And by the way, Wabbit, who just sent me this picture of a black Enterprise. So I thought y'all were talking about the Vengeance. If that's what you're talking about, that is simply an example of the game or your device not loading up the lighting correctly. That's the model with none of the lighting for the game turned on. So that's why it looks black.
Yeah.
That's just it's the same issue that happened with the officers. Remember, like last year, where the officers looked like really matte colored and washed out? It's because the lighting on the server side stopped working. So with all the officer models just had this really dark matte complexion versus their normal,
Oh, well, I'll tell you the reasons behind that. Actually, there's actually like one light in the game. Everything else is actually.
Sir, there are 4 lights.
Oh, oh my God.
There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights. But for the most part, they use a specular map, a diffuse map, and an emission map, and alpha map, and that's pretty much it. And for everything else, like that time that we didn't see the officers displayed correctly was because we weren't getting the right textures.
Yeah.
Because every time you go to a different screen, it actually downloads everything, which is ridiculous. Because the textures themselves are around, they're like 2K textures, so 2048 by 2048 for the ships and stuff like that.
Let's get a couple. Sorry, Sagi. Let me just get a couple of these questions. So, Sky says, how long do you think till Scopely bans mods due to hacking or bots on PC versions? So here is what will probably get allowed and not allowed. Anything that simply modifies the UI or anything that's client side probably will be safe. Like everything Ripper is doing is client side. And what I mean by client side is your device, like your PC. It's only when you actually start trying to ping their IP and access their server side and pull information from it that you're probably going to get shut down. They'll close off your port, they'll ban you, and then probably ban your account. Any mod that you're doing that is strictly related to, say, the exe file, the PC version that you download, probably is going to get left alone. They'll just be like, whatever, cool. He can set up as many, hotkeys as he wants to. It's as soon as you start messing server side and pinging their IP, that's what's going to get you banned. Now, don't take that as you go mess with stuff. That's just, if we use Ripper as a measuring stick, that's all being openly allowed. Like, they're not going to endorse it because it's not something they're producing, but they're obviously letting it happen. So that's it. Now, regular bots like BlueStack scripting and stuff is already something that they do try to ban. Not necessarily great at it all the time, but they do try to ban that stuff.
Well, the thing is, like, we've already had this with BlueStacks, this opportunity to exploit the game and whatnot, because there are things like bots, which, will automate, hostile grind and stuff like that. Which, that, to me, that's cheating. Because it's I remember back in the day when we used to have a bunch of those solo leaderboards where it was nothing but grind these hostiles. And I remember messaging one guy and I was like, dang, dude, like, I've been up for almost 24 hours. What, are you doing the same thing? And he's like, no, man, I've been having other people play for me. I'm like, bull crap.
Woodcannon says does not open up the hotkey automation bots. Question answer. I mean, look, here's the thing, Woodcannon. If you want to do that, it's already available. BlueStacks, you can do it. That's been here for 3 years. People set up auto scripting with hotkeys in BlueStacks already. Now, if you get caught, which they'll track behavior of a ship, behavior of an account, if they suspect it of botting, it will get a ban. Obviously, that's very difficult to prove, though, because it's happening on your side, not their side. It's very easy for them to say, hey, somebody's trying to get into our IP, somebody's trying to get into our server, automatically ban them, close them out. It's a lot harder to prove somebody's botting because it's happening away from their prying eyes, if that makes sense. Unless you have eyes on something, it's pretty difficult to prove the botting's happening. Now, some people have, and they'll do it by recording with video evidence. This player doing this, these type of interactions that are very common when you set up automated processing. But, all you could do as a player is try to report that and get it taken care of as much as you can. All right, let me, Fallen says, make your IP untraceable. Not that easy, Fallen. I mean, I guess if you want to boot up some VPNs and if you want to run proxies and stuff, you can. But remember, there's no way to truly be invisible out there. If somebody wants to, they can find you. Let's see if we get some more questions before we start getting toward the wrap-up portion. And yes, Zypho's excited for log parsing. Me too. I'm very excited for log parsing. Why can't Scopely recommend device?
As far as the new stuff that's probably going to come out with